relational algebra. You can create it. What about this one? I submit this SQL to create the DPT table. Can you create? Yes or no? No? Why?
Because the employee.
Yes. You should have the employee before you create the foreign key. How can you refer? Employee doesn't exist yet. So first, before you create this one, you need to create employee table. That is another common mistake. Okay, asked and frequently asked by the beginner or database user. I cannot create the table. I did exactly the same thing that Professor Lee provided. But if you do not create the employee, you cannot create this one. You should create the employee first, then create the DPT. That refer this one. How can you drop? Drop table and table name. Depending on DBMS, sometimes you cannot drop the table when you have data in the table. Okay? At that time, you need to specify the option. Yes?
What if we have, every table has at least 30 or 32 relations with other tables, and they have relations with it? How can we do it?
So, first, his question is, simply, we have two tables. This one, refer this one, foreign key. Also, this one has foreign key to this one. How can you create? You cannot create this without this. You cannot create this without this. How can you create the table? It's a deadlock. You can create without foreign key first. Okay, then after you create the table, you can modify. You can add foreign key. Okay?
So I have to use alter.
Yes, you can use the alter. You can, yes, usually alter table, add foreign key. Okay? So there are, this is not the only way to create a table. There are a bunch of other options. Okay? So you can drop the table. Also, you can modify the table structure. For example, in this case, you can add new column, new attribute. Using alter table, employee, add job. Character type. If you have the constraint, you can add the constraint. Also, you can add a primary key. How many primary? Only one primary key. And you can add a foreign key. You can add a unique key. Because that is to modify the table structure. Okay? I'm not going to explain the details. All of them you can find from internet or manual of your DBMS system. But we can test it on Thursday in exercise lab. Very small example. Okay? So this is another example of creating table. One more option. After this one is the same. So why don't you forget about these two lines? Then first this. We do not have social security number. So if you learn this one up to employee without social security number, does it work? Can you create a table? We have employee. Yes or no? Yes? Can you create? Yes.
Yes, it can. So if there is any primary key employee, DBMS will create automatically one.
The answer is yes, you can create. The reason is that when we learn the foreign key, manager social security number left for what? Primary key of other relation. Okay? If you do not specify the specific column, DBMS automatically consider referred column as the key of employee. Okay, that is the reason. Then next question is what about this? On delete, set default on update cascade. What does that mean? Means in case delete one tuple. For example, manager social security number 111 should exist in employee 111, right? Then you can create. What if 111 is fired. It's gone.
So delete it.
Then what happened in department? Manager social security number 111. Does it make sense? No. At that time, on delete. In case referenced data is deleted, how can you handle it? How can you keep the consistency? At that time, set default. 111 is changed as default value. So when you create this one, you can specify the default value. Default manager social security number, like the 000. 000 should be here as a default. Okay? On update, for example, 111 change the social security number into 222. Then what happened? 111 doesn't exist here. It's a change. At that time, cascadely, which means consequently, change this manager social security number into 222 automatically. Then you can keep the consistency. You don't have to update again this one. Okay, yes?
Professor, like other DBMS, like when you delete with cascading of deletion, it will delete all the tuples that is related to the primary from the other table.
Yes.
So this will set it
Yes, same thing.
Or will delete it from here.
You can change on delete cascade. Okay? On delete cascade, which means when the employee 111 is fired, deleted,
yes,
the corresponding manager will be deleted automatically. So you can find several other options. Sometimes you can have if you do not specify such an option, if you delete the data, you cannot delete the data. It prevents from deleting because it's a violate foreign key constraint. Okay? Or some of the DBMS make the foreign key as invalid foreign key. So you need to keep managing. I'm not going to explain all the possible options, but you should know there are several options to manage this one, to manage the constraint. Okay? So these are the four syntax of creating table. Then after you create the table, after you create the table, we can retrieve the data. How can we retrieve the data? Using well-known select from where clause. Select can have the attribute, the column list and table list where condition. How can you make this one? From relational algebra. So I don't have to explain again. So let me move to the example like this. Retrieve the birthday and address of the employee whose name is John B. Smith. You already did in relational algebra. Which relation do you need to access to get this information? Employee. So employee from. What is the projection attribute? First name, last name, birthday, and address. That's it. Then, what is the condition? First name is John, and middle name initial is B, and last name is Smith. That's it. You already did in the relational algebra. You can just convert into this. And one more thing. There are two more important things. First, is it case sensitive or not?
Yes.
Database query are not case sensitive. So you can use small letter select, small letter from, small letter where, small letter and small letter bdate address, except what? Data in the quotation is obvious. So Smith capital letter is different from this. Okay? So you should be careful. Only the case sensitive in database is the data in quotation mark. Single quotation or double quotation is actually same. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is when we learn the relational model, how many tuples will be returned when I select the sex. Only two, male or female, because it does not allow duplicate data. However, in SQL, it's different. Professor Lee said relational algebra is the same as the SQL. No, not always. Most of them are the same, but there are different things. That is the duplicate data. SQL does allow duplicate data. So when you select the cells from the employee, MMFFFMMFF, all duplicate data will be returned. So you should be careful. Why? The user, database user, wants more flexible. So later, the user can handle such a duplicate data. Let me go over briefly the other query. We already did in relational algebra. To access the whole employee who works for research department, how many? You need to access employee. You need to access department. Comma separate. What information? First name, last name, address. Then, what is the condition? Department name is, the name is research. And join condition. So join condition will be specified in where condition. So where clause include select condition as well as join condition too. So this is the another query. Then, for example, this one. I'd like to retrieve the employee's name and supervisor information. Okay? At that time, where can you get the employee information? So also employee. Supervisor information you can get from employee. So you need two employees. At that time, you don't have to write the SQL as employee and employee. It's the same name. Instead, you can rename. That is called aliases. Employee E and S. There are two employees, E and S. One is for employee, another one is supervisor. So, how can you differentiate the column? E dot alias name dot column name. Alias name dot column name. So, E dot F name is different from S dot F name. We will test all of these query in exercise lab 2. This is the same thing. Employee S. S is the optional for alias. We can use S for aliasing. What if there is no where condition? It works. Only select and from are mandatory. Where is the option in case there is no condition, which means all employees' social security number. What if there are two tables in from? That cause Cartesian product. All combination between employee and department and select the social security number and D name. That is called a Cartesian product. Okay. Then what if you want to access all of the attribute? You don't have to write down whole attribute. Instead, use asterisk. Okay. Then somebody wants to remove the duplication. At that time, you can use the distinct. Okay, so you can use the distinct to make your query as the relational algebra. Then set operation is a straightforward way. So you can combine two queries using the set operation. One thing you need to be careful for type comparative, which means key name and key name should be the same data type, not the same name. It's the same data type. Okay. What about this? Does it allow the duplicate data? No. In this case, even though this is a SQL, it does not allow the duplicate data. But how do you, what if you want to duplicate data too? You can use union all. All means return all duplicate data too. And from the nesting of query will be discussed in the exercise lab 2. Okay, so don't forget to come to the 163 on Thursday. You don't have to come to here. There is another homework. as you feel, you should know the relational algebra to understand the SQL. So if you go to the chapter 6, at the end of chapter 6, there are several the question for relational algebra. So by next class on Thursday, why don't you answer these 6 questions for relational algebra with the difference between character and variable character. Okay? I do not allow the printout answer. You don't have to spend time. Just write down and submit to the classroom. You don't have to submit to the Blackboard. Any other question? If you are late to check your exam sheet, come to my office.